Welcome to Delta Cast Tutorials. Today I'll be doing a plaster volar splint that's removable. With this particular injury, it's going to be concentrated in the wrist, and we just need some support, and we want to allow the patient to remove it at any time, to shower, to do other activities, but use it for support when they need it. But this is with plaster. And we want to have the position in a neutral to 20 degrees of extension. That's the position we're going to concentrate on. And the injuries, of course, they can have a sprained wrists. They can have some other issues going on with their wrist where the doctor wants them to remove it. But we still want to make sure that we get the position right, but our dimensions are good. So we want to have this on the particular patient where it's at the distal palmar crease so it can feel comfortable with the range of motion. So we're going to have that in an angled position, not straight across. And then we want it to go proximal enough to where the patient can bend their arm at least 90 degrees. Some may say 1 or 2 inches from the antecubital space, but we have to remember when we're doing pediatric patients or very, very tall patients that will change 1 or 2 inches. So we want to stop the splint enough where they can bend 90 degrees, but make it as long as possible, but not hit the bicep too much as far as the hard portion of the splint. So let's measure for this patient. And before I even do that, we're going to check the extremity out, make sure there's no abrasions or anything that can cause harm to the patient. Take off any jewelry to keep from anything being too tight on their fingers because it's going to be snug on them. And let's do that with some padding. You can use padding or you can use a tape measure. I'm just going to use some padding, and I'm going to do that on the injured extremity. And I'm going to measure from the distal palmar crease to 1 or 2 inches from the antecubital space. So I'll just put that there and put the patient's arm at 90 degrees. That lets me know how far proximal I need to make my splint. So that's my template. So for this particular patient's size, we're going to be using a 3-inch so we can cover half of the extremity. It could be a 3-inch, 4-inch, or 5-inch, but we want to cover half the extremity. So a little helpful way is whatever splint you're using, this is padding, of course. We want to make sure that it protrudes a little bit on the sides, i.e. the plaster or the substrate, whatever you're using, it protrudes a little bit on the side so you'll know that it's going to cover at least half of the extremity or the diameter of the extremity. And I'm using specialist plaster. And when you use plaster, just be conscious of the dust that may come off the plaster so that it doesn't get in the patient's, irritate the patient's eyes. So rule of thumb is 10 to 15 layers for upper extremities and 10 to 20 on lower extremities. Depends on what you're doing and what the provider may want. But I'm going to count out 10 layers or 12 layers for myself here. So here's my plaster. Let's cut this and modify it to the length of our template of what we need for this particular patient. I err on the side of getting just a little bit longer just in case it shrinks down or my measurements were off just a tad. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do 2 things. I got this kind of cut at an angle a little bit. That's going to be like the line of the distal palmar crease here. So that's how I cut that in a little bit at angle. But then on the other side, I'll cut out a half moon for better range of motion of the thumb. So there we go. We have the plaster already prepared. Now let's get our padding good to go for the patient. So if you look at the length of my template of plaster, I'm going to make sure my padding is at least a 1/4 inch past where the splint will go. That's one layer that we're going to have down. I'm going to have 4 layers that's going to be on the extremity, and the other portion I don't worry about too much, maybe just 2 layers on the top. And you can use a wider padding if you want to. So what I did is place 1 layer down, and then I put 2 on top of that, and then put 1 in the middle, because what I'll do is envelope it all in together, and then I'll get some padding, and get that ready for the top layer of the plaster. And now we're ready to go. We have the plaster, and this is my padding. The padding, the thicker side will be towards the patient's extremity. And then I'll use an elastic bandage to secure it. But to even make it a little bit more neater for the patient, I'll use some stockinette and I'll encompass that whole splint inside of the stockinette. And you may want to use a wider type of stockinette so you can put it inside of the splint. Now, this is an optional step, okay? So I'll put this on the side here. And let's go ahead and activate this. Now, this portion is kind of important that I'm going to do now. Just activating the plaster. And you really want to secure and hold all the edges, because once I dip this in the water, it's going to mesh up so well. And you want to make sure you don't let it slide and slide apart. So you hold both ends securely, and then you're going to dip it in the water to bubble cease. So I'll dip it in the water, then pull it out. You notice I kept my ends together, and then I'll do accordion style fold, kind of mesh it together, and that is called a little portion of lamination. Now what I'll do is get my index finger and my other finger, and I'll just kind of smooth it out, get a little bit more water out of it. Okay. Now that's good to go there. Lay it on top of my padding. And so then I'll just smooth it out. Now you can see there's little holes from the gauze that has the impregnated plaster on it, okay? So you want to smooth that out to make it more laminated, more solid. So I'll just smooth that out. Okay. Now what I'll do is get my 2 layers here, and I'll just place that on top of the plaster that's wet. Let's encompass this in. There we go. So what I'll do next is I'll cut this extra padding off that I don't need, because all I wanted is at least 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch further than where the splint will go. And then that little half moon I did, I'll do it again over here with the padding. And just take notice of where this portion is of the thumb. And again, the thicker side will go on the patient's extremity, and then you'll lay that there. We're going to make this a little bit neater so that the padding doesn't come off the splint itself. And I'm using a 4 inch for this particular splint. And then I'll just slide that through there. All right. Cut some extra stockinette off that I don't need. Lay that way. Okay, now this is the side that I'm going to put toward the patient. So I'll get the extremity, and here's my hole for the thumb. And I'll lay that there. Lay that down like that. Grab my elastic bandage. I may only need 1, but you always want to have 2 ready. And this is start at the wrist, go to the hand, and then work your way down proximal. You don't have to do this as tight, because one good thing is that once you have this anchored, you can actually slide it back and forth to put it in the proper position if it was not quite where you wanted it. Then I'll start going distally toward the hand. Fold this down just a little bit so that that range of motion is good for that patient. Now, you can cut a hole for the thumb. That's what most people do, but this is going to be removable, so you may not want to cut a hole for this in the elastic bandage. This is a 3 inch, so you can use a 2 inch if it's going to be easier for you. So I took care of the wrist, go through the hand, then go through the hand or web space one more time. Again, this is removable, so I don't want to do any modifications too much to the elastic bandage. As you're putting the elastic bandage on, again, if you can see through it, you're probably pulling a little bit too much. So just be conscious of that. And let's finish this up. And All right, so we have it finished there, got it all wrapped up, and we're going to hold the patient now and hold them in position. Either you're going to be neutral up to 20 degrees of extension or whatever the provider wants. Hold that patient's position to the plaster sets, because there's two different types of plaster products that we have as far as, the set times. And we want to hold that. Now, this is imperative. Plaster, we want to make sure we don't leave any finger indentation. So you want to move around your hand, like don't keep it in the same place. If you know that your fingers were on a particular portion of the plaster, you can leave indentions. So be conscious of that. So I'm going to hold this until it sets properly. Now, I have it in the position I want. And just recap, we got the patient in the right position, put my palm in the patient's palm, and then one hand below the wrist joint so we can get that extension that we want, and then we hold the patient. Now, what's important is we do not leave indentions inside of the plaster, so be conscious where your fingertips are on the plaster itself. Now, once it sets properly, we're going to do a fax check, okay? And that is just function of the extremity, so we can make sure we have good range of motion on the fingers, okay? Now, we did that little half moon for that thumb area, so it's a little bit of portion here that allows that patient to move. You can't really see it too much. I have a lot more range of motion in that thumb area, okay? And then we want to make sure that that's the function that we want for the elbow, where the splint is not digging all in the bicep when they come to 90 degrees. The longer you make the splint, then you'll mobilize more, but the shorter you make it, it allows them a lot more movement. So be conscious of that. Arterial pulse, we're going to worry about that too much because this is going to be removable, but the point is we go straight to capillary refill in sensation, and we're going to blanch test that on the fingers where we see how the blood flow returns back to the tips of the fingers. You do sensation check at the same time and asking the patient, do you feel me touching each of your fingers as you go along? Do a temperature check, one extremity versus the other. If one hand is extremely cold or hot compared to the other, then you need to bring that to the physician's attention, and that is a fax check. One thing I want you guys to see is how the splint looks afterwards, because I did one optional thing. I put the stockinette on the splint itself. I just made the splint with the padding on it, but then I put the splint through the stockinette to enclose it so it can be a nice little neat little package. So let's take this off and let's see what that looks like now. So we have a nice little looking neat splint, and it has that little indentation for that thumb so they can give them good range of motion for their thumb, okay? But it's nice and enclosed, so then it's a little bit more comfortable with the stockinette on there. Again, that is an optional feature that you can do, and if you didn't have stockinette, then don't worry about it, but this is a nice little feature to keep your splint all extra neat, okay? So that was the Volar Splint using plaster that's removable. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Thank you very much. If you need any additional support or training regarding DeltaCast products, contact your local rep or look for us on www.essity.com.